Greetings! We are just about to celebrate Easter, and one of the things that we normally get to celebrate on Easter time is an egg hunt. It is one of the things that I enjoy watching. You guys all have fun running through the yard, finding eggs. I've got one of the golden eggs right here. We don't get to hide it this year. So I was thinking, since we don't have an Easter egg hunt where we can hide all these beautiful eggs, I'm going to give you a different kind of Easter egg hunt. We're going to look for Easter eggs in the Bible. And we're not going to find the colored plastic with candy in it, but there's another term, Easter egg, you may have heard. If somebody has a movie or a book or a theme park and they hide Easter eggs in them, it's something where you go, oh, I didn't see it at first, but now I get it. It's a little clue for the people who are in the know. And when we went down to Disney, we enjoyed finding hidden Mickeys. They were little Easter eggs where all throughout the park, they have the big circle and then the two little ear circles for the hidden Mickey Easter eggs all throughout the park. There's a whole book of them here, over 200 pages. So in the Bible, we have something like that. We have these hidden clues in the Old Testament that are kind of like Easter eggs about the real Easter, about Jesus rising from the dead. And so I want you to find me 8 Easter eggs. And 8 is an Easter egg number in a way, because when God first made everything in the beginning, there were 7 days of creation. 6 days he worked, on the 7th day he rested, and then the new week begins on the 8th day. And so Jesus died on Friday. He died on a 6th day. He stayed in the tomb and rested on the 7th day. And then on the 8th day, it's beginning things all over again. A new creation, the resurrection of Jesus. So, if you're listening closely, I'm going to give you a clue on the first one. I want you to answer to me, how many people were in the ark that stayed through the 40 days and 40 nights. 40 is not the number, but how many people were in the ark that Noah built and that came all the way through from the flood that destroyed the first world and then brought God's people through to the next world? So that's your first question. How many people were in the ark? Now, the second question, another Easter egg, and this is in a book. I like the name of this book. That's another little clue here. There were 3 men who were thrown into a fiery furnace. And you'd think, if you get thrown into a fiery furnace, you're going to become barbecue. But that's not what happened to them. God protected them, and they came out of the fiery furnace alive. So find me those 3 names who showed, just like Jesus, he went into the tomb, but he came back out alive. All right, there was one prophet who was sent to preach, and he had to preach not to a congregation of regular people, but he preached to a field of dry bones. And when he preached, it says the breath of God came and the bones started rattling around and they came alive, which of course reminds us of the resurrection. Which prophet went to the valley of the dry bones? Now, one of our favorite hymns for Easter time is, I Know My Redeemer Lives. And it's actually an Old Testament figure who said those words when he was going through some hard times. It seemed like everything that could be taken away from him was taken away from him. And he was crying out, why are you doing this, God? But then he said, in the midst of his tears, I know my Redeemer lives. And at the last, I shall see him with my own eyes. So find me who said that. It's not that hard of a job if you catch what I'm saying here. Okay, there's another prophet who was supposed to go to Nineveh. He went the opposite direction. He went on a boat, and then he ended up in the belly of a big fish. I think you know this one. I'm not going to give you any hints for this one. But tell me the prophet who spent 3 days in a big fish. In 3 days, that's the amount of time Jesus was in the tomb. Another Easter egg. All right. Now, I like the name of this next guy too. He's the child of promise who Abraham and Sarah waited a long time to have. And he was taken up a mountain, and his father was a little fearful of what he might have to do, but he trusted in God and promised that God would provide something. And God did, on the top of that mountain, provide something. So find me what God provided on the top of that mountain for Abraham. Okay, we got another one. This one's about Moses. Moses had gotten Israel out of slavery in Egypt. They'd had the Passover, and they were just working their way towards the promised land when Pharaoh's chariots came after them. And Pharaoh's chariots captured them almost. They had them pinned against a body of water. And then God opened up a pathway for them to go through the body of water on dry ground. What was that body of water? Again, you think about this. It shows us that Jesus, he made a pathway for us through death. He's going to bring us out of slavery to sin, and he's going to give us our own promised land of heaven. Easter egg upon Easter egg. Okay, so we've got one last one. There was a prophet who was sent to a widow whose son died, and the prophet was able to raise the son from the dead. And then at the end of that prophet's work, he went up to heaven in a fiery chariot. So we think about Jesus, who not only raised from the dead, but then he ascended up to heaven. This prophet, another Easter egg about it. What's his name? So I'm going to have, in the description of the video, each of these questions. You're going to have 8 Easter eggs in the Bible to find me, and I am going to find a way to get a prize to whoever is the first family that can get the 8 answers back to me the fastest. So we've got those 8 questions, our little Easter egg hunt. It's not as much fun as when we can all get a huge pile of Easter eggs, but we do the best we can, and we know that the Lord is going to bless us by spending time in his word. And he's going to bless us by knowing these passages that show us that whatever happens in this life is not the end, because God is with us. Just as he rose Jesus from the grave, he's going to raise us up as well. Not only Jesus, but before him, there are these 8 other Easter eggs, and more than that. We got a whole pile of Easter eggs here. I bet if you look through the Old Testament, you could find more Easter eggs than we've got even in this box. But I'm just giving you 8 for now, and we'll have a happy Easter knowing, hallelujah, Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Hallelujah. God's blessings to you guys.